welcome back everybody. So by now you should have seen the reveal of the shop. You should have seen that we got ourselves, by we I mean me and Shane from Toe Strap Garage, we got ourselves a nice little workspace. It's nice to have a space away from home, especially when you don't want to deal with family and stuff like that getting in the way and interrupting certain projects and whatnot. And it's just nice to have a place to get away and just kind of do your own thing. But yeah, so we're back here. We're finally getting started on Gabriel's car here in the space. You can see we already got ourselves a bit of a mess here. I gotta clean that up real quick, especially since I have this little husky set or whatever. I don't want that thing going everywhere and getting lost like the rest of my tools that I've had in the past. But I've had this kit here forever. It's a TD05 rebuild kit. So I just finished rebuilding this turbo. Shane was holding on to it. He had it at his house for a while. And I figured, you know what, it's only gonna take me like 5-10 minutes, so I went ahead and replaced everything out. The bearings and everything, they weren't too bad. It was mainly like the seals and stuff. The two journal bearings did have some wear in there, but it was mainly just loss of integrity of the rings. Like this one was basically flat. Focus, it was like flat in the middle. And this is the outer one. This one was pretty flat also. But so we went ahead and replaced everything. All new bearings, all new hardware for the internals and stuff like that. And excuse me. Yeah, now as you can see, thing spins super smooth, minimal shaft play, which if you know about turbos, even when they're brand new, they still have some shaft play. No in and out play. I might get a new wheel eventually. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But for now, this wheel should work fine. It's kind of one of those like send it things. I'm not too worried about it. But yeah, so this thing is back in here. We kind of paused where you saw in the last video. Motor and everything is in here. There's a few things that are going to get changed. Gabriel brought up a few things that he wanted to change out. So if you haven't watched my last video, go ahead and watch it. It was basically taking the B20 VTEC back out of this car and putting in the built B18 B1 that is going to be getting turboed in here. We went ahead and set screw. We started removing the AC because the turbo setup that's going to go in here won't clear the condenser in the radiator. Radiator's over there. It's going to get a half-size radiator. And Gabriel also brought to my attention that since we are going all in with this thing, E85 turbo, etc., we might as well fix the third gear grind in the transmission. Luckily, there is no suspension in here, no axles, no T-bracket. So that means that this transmission is going to take me no time to pull it out. So, got the car jacked up here. The starter is on here by hand. You can see the bolts, I'm turning them by hand. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that off real quick. Slave cylinder isn't even connected, it's just hanging here. And the only thing that I have to undo is just that mount right there. And then I just have to support the engine with the jack, which Shane's lightweight aluminum jack is around here somewhere. I believe that should be tall enough to go ahead and hold the engine. So that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna go ahead and support the engine with that jack. Let me just double check. Yeah, there is no T-bracket, so it's gonna be super easy. Just gonna go ahead and undo this mount right here. Take the starter off, undo that mount, pull the transmission out. Then I'm gonna get that guy up on that bench over there and open it up. And it should be just the third gear synchro that we have to change. It shouldn't be anything else. I mean, I'm gonna double check his sliders and everything else, but I'm pretty sure it was just a synchro because we had an issue with this car where for some reason, it was the way that I adjusted the master cylinder when I installed the new one. The car was driving fine when I drove it. For whatever reason, when Gabriel took it out for a spin, it stopped going into gear. What ended up happening was I had the master cylinder adjusted too far out. So what I ended up having to do was I had to go under there, unhook it, twist it in a few times, put it back on the clutch pedal, and then after that it was good to go. But Gabriel got a little upset while driving, and he kind of just slammed the car into third, like forced it into third. So pretty sure he chewed up the synchro, and especially since that's the weaker part of everything that's in there because they're made of brass. But so we're gonna go ahead and tear into it and we'll see. I'm pretty sure it'll be just a synchro. All right, y'all, just like that, transmission's out. Got it over here on the bench now. We can go ahead and open it up. Before we open it up, I took that guy off, and then we got to strip all these brackets and everything off so we can get all these bolts and everything else out of here. So now that the brackets are off, you're going to take this bolt off here. That's a 14. That's going to hold your reverse gear in place. And then on the back side here, these bolts right here, those are what hold your shifter forks from having any play and stuff like that. All right, so the reverse and the shifter fork bolts are out. If you notice, these have little springs. There's gonna be these little like detent balls in there. See that one there? There's another one down there. Best way to do that is to shift over the transmission, but make sure you have your hand there, because if you drop those detent balls, they're gonna be impossible to find. So I'm not gonna record that because I need to be paying attention and make sure I don't lose any. Also, make sure you don't lose these washers. These washers or those shims are very important that they're on that. If not, these are gonna get messed up and you could possibly ruin your transmission. All right, and now you're clear to go ahead and take off the rest of these 12 bolts. That's going to, those are the bolts that are basically holding the upper casing from the lower casing together. All right, so as y'all can see, top casing is off now. The next step is gonna be, this one's already loose because I started loosening it before I remembered to record again. So basically, you're gonna be taking this apart. That's for your reverse gear, and you're gonna take your shifter mechanism apart. Once you have all the bolts for that off, then you can go ahead and pick up the whole stack as one piece, and you can go ahead and set it down. And then if this is looking like it's missing something, it's because it is. 9 times out of 10, the bearing will get stuck in the top casing. You just got to make sure that you remove that bearing and put it back on the stack before you close it up. All right, and so now we got the stack with the third gear on it right here. You have to pull them all out together and put them out here. I just put this one back because it's just easier to just have it in the case. And then I got all the forks here. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take this one apart and see what the third gear synchro is looking like. All right, so I got this stack basically all completely taken apart. I got the synchros and everything here. I gotta do a further inspection tomorrow because I can't really see too good right now with the lighting. So I'm gonna basically call it a night right here because it's already 10 p.m. So I'm gonna leave everything just like this, and then as soon as I get a chance, probably, let's see, today's Tuesday, so tomorrow's Wednesday. So yeah, probably tomorrow I'll come right back and after work, and I'll take a look at all this stuff and see exactly what's got to get done. But Gabriel's already got the third gear synchro, so like I said, I'm pretty sure that that's all we're gonna need. The slider and everything else should be fine, but we'll take a more in-depth look tomorrow. And if I can get that synchro from tomorrow and everything else checks out, I should be able to have this thing closed up by tomorrow night. All right, guys, so we got everything assembled here. I went ahead and took the opportunity to pull the diff out, because a lot of times when you have a lot of issues like this, a lot of the contaminants and stuff that we see usually end up collecting like in this area right here where the diff sits. So you want to go ahead and take your time and clean all that out really good. Make sure you don't have anything in there. Some of it will pull up in the axle seal there. And then you also got to check your magnet, because if you've been grinding gears and stuff like that, all those metal pieces are going to collect in there. Nothing really happens. That's the whole reason that's there. I mean, these things are constantly grinding each other apart. That's just the nature of a transmission. It's a bunch of metals grinding against each other. The fluid just kind of reduces the amount of time that it takes for it to grind itself to where it's not working anymore. Obviously, with maintenance and stuff like that, you can extend the life of a transmission even longer. But so in this case, we got everything cleaned up real good. I took the opportunity to go ahead and take a razor blade around the edge here to get most of the silicone off. And I didn't go into super detail on how to take apart and put this transmission back together, because I do have another video. I have 2 videos actually. One video showing me taking my GSR transmission with my Type R LSD apart. If you go into my videos, you'll see the teardown, and then you'll see the assembly afterwards on doing the roller bearing upgrade as well. In this case, for Gabriel's car, we didn't have to upgrade the bearings because I believe 98 and up already comes with roller bearings, which is what this car is. So we didn't have to do that there. But so essentially the third gear synchro, you've got your first and second gear here, third gear. So your third gear synchro is actually over on this side right here. And then you have your fourth gear, which your fourth gear synchro for that is right there. and then you've got fourth and fifth right there, and your gears here. And this is obviously your counter shaft. There's your input shaft here. So third gear, if you end up getting a third gear grind, the one you want to change out is this bronze guy right there. So you change that guy out, and no more third gear grind. We also have to change out the slider here. So here is the synchro that we pulled out. You see how there's like a bunch of little indents right there? A lot of times when you take your synchros out, it's kind of normal to see that, but when you see something like this, that's like way too intense. And over here, that's like super chewed up. So there's the one that he chewed up. And then the slider doesn't really look like it's too bad. It's kind of hard to see. But, let me see, I don't know if you can see right there. That right there is like super chewed up. This one right here. It's one of those things where like if you run your finger across it like this, you can either feel it bulging out or you can feel it like you'll get your nail like caught up in it like that. So that's not good. So yeah, so we went ahead, changed out the synchro, the slider, everything from Synchro Tech. Put it all together, and then now we're gonna go ahead and grab this stack assembly. Well, the diff goes in first. Grab the stack assembly with the shift forks, drop that in there, and we'll go ahead and seal that up. All right, so diff is in place. I don't know why, but I can never resist doing that. All right, we'll check back in like 10 hours when this thing stops spinning. All right, so I didn't record the process of me putting this in because it's honestly impossible to record and do that, and I don't have any stand here. But so you essentially just kind of grab everything like this. Obviously your other hand is on the right side. You grab it on one piece. You make sure that your little washers are here and that they're in the correct orientation, and then you just drop it in. Everything should just kind of fall in. The only thing that's going to kind of be a pain is getting these three lined up, but mess around with it enough and you'll get it. So now we're just going to go ahead and apply the silicone here to the casing. Alright, so basically you just want to have a nice little uniform bead going all the way around the transmission like that. You don't really want to smear it. I've seen some people that do smear it, but I feel like that ends up leading to you having leaks down the road. The only reason you might have seen me smear it is because right here I accidentally piled it up a little too much, and you don't want to pile it up too much because once you close the casing, it'll overflow in too far. You'll end up with a bunch of silicone like going everywhere, which won't really hurt the transmission, but it could get in some of the passages in the input shafts and stuff like that and starve certain bearings, and that's not good. But yeah, so you usually just want to do a thin uniform bead like that all the way around, and then start working on putting your casing. I don't like to get any of the quick stuff. I don't recommend you get any of the quick sealing silicone, because sometimes it takes you a little while to kind of get the casing to sit down. So you want to take something that's going to take ideally like half an hour or whatever to like at least set, and then you know, essentially like a few hours for it to seal. I don't recommend that you put fluid in this thing until at least 24 hours have passed and this is sealed all properly. But yeah, so this is pretty much how I do it. And so I'm gonna put the casing on here and we'll get this thing closed up, and that'll pretty much be the end of this. The next thing that we're gonna do here, I'm gonna pull that motor out and we're gonna get started on that fuel system. But for now, let's go ahead and get this thing closed up and cleaned up and out the way, and that way I can go ahead and open the bench up too, because Shane has a project that he wants to work on this bench. Got the case back together. The silicone is tacky now. Don't worry, in case you were paying attention, which is a good thing. You notice that my shifter assembly and the reverse and everything was sitting over here. That's already inside the transmission, which is why I was saying you want to get a silicone that takes a while to set. Because if I would have had a quick setting silicone, I would have had to clean this all off to put those parts in. But the parts are already in, bolts are in. When you get this casing on here, it's not going to close all the way down. It'll close about ½ an inch off the bottom casing. You got to put something in the shifter here, pull the shifter back and forth until it sets in. Luckily with this one, it was pretty quickly. The silicone is nice and tacky now, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start tightening these from left to right. So I usually start in the middle and I work my way out to get the silicone to spread evenly between the two cases. All right, yo, so here we got the case all closed up. All the bolts and everything are in place. Everything's been torqued. The little snap ring there, I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard to focus in there, but the little snap ring that grabs onto that bearing right there on the counter shaft, that's in place. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get in place, but it's in place. And again, like I said, that's why you want to use a sealant that takes a while to cure. Because as you can see, it took me maybe 30 minutes to get all this assembled, even after the adhesive was applied, and it's still tacky. It didn't spread out too much or anything like that. So, but yeah, so the next step here is gonna be, we got the D10 springs here. Remember, I put the little the D10 ball bearings over here. Those are gonna go in there, and then on the top side here, you're going to need to put in your bolt for your reverse gear, and then after that you're pretty much done. As far as these brackets and stuff go, usually what I like to do is I like to wait until this cures, because once it cures you can remove these bolts without disturbing the silicone. And then so when you go to put this bracket back in place, you can take it out and put it back without disturbing the seal around the casing. So that's the way that I usually like to do it. And yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. So the next step for me here is going to be to remove the motor. But as far as that goes, we're gonna close out this video here. And I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope you guys enjoy all the future content that's coming. Like I said, I'm gonna basically be forcing myself here. I'm not really forcing myself because I enjoy doing it, because I want to get this car done and out of the way, and then that way we can roll in our next project. But yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video, and hopefully you guys are enjoying the content that we're producing in the shop here. And yeah, so if this is your first time tuning in, be sure to subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell notification. That way every time I upload, there's going to be a lot more videos coming out now that I got the shop space and stuff like that. So make sure you hit that bell notification. That way you don't miss all the videos that I bring out. If you like the video, make sure you like. It helps with the algorithm. And share the video to your friends. You know, let your friends know that you enjoy my content or whatever, and hopefully they tune in and they like it too. But so that's gonna be it, guys. I'm gonna get back to work on this thing, and I'm gonna keep recording. But as far as this video goes, that's gonna be the end of it. So I will catch you guys on the next one.